Actually, I'm gonna stay with universities and HEIs and try to unpack a little bit the relationship between you as universities, actually you, Steve, as a university professional body with universities, how you manage this relationship. Would you please give us some insights, some advices about this relationship, how is it managed, and how can the police make the best out of this relationship with universities?
If you are a university with a paramedic program, it's nigh on impossible to do it successfully without having a dialogue with your practice placement providers, whether they are the local ambulance service or other parts of the health economy. There's usually some form of memorandum of understanding or memorandum of cooperation where you can set down some basic tenets of what we're all trying to achieve out of this, and what happens if this happens and what happens there, and the finance and the money and the uniforms and all of these things, who's doing what. So regular meetings with those. I think also that things like the Health and Care Professions Council, they not only have their own standards, they then contract people to come and support them in being education visitors. So people going to look at an approved program for paramedic will be a team of people, usually an education officer, a paramedic, and usually another, or sometimes two paramedics, who've been trained in that role. So it is almost like, from a police point of view, it would be police officers coming to inspect the police education to make sure that it meets the regulatory body. Even things down like CPD, your CPD isn't assessed by some automaton in an office somewhere. They are paramedics who are assessing other paramedics CPD who've been trained to do that role and check it out. So it's all about connecting, professionalising, being properly prepared for the roles that you're taking on, and where there are tensions, usually it's because one side wants more out of something than the other one can't give at that stage.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That endorsement is really important. Yeah. It's important for universities because it's also helpful in terms of marketing your programs. Not only have you got the regulator is saying this is okay and the university is saying okay, actually the professional body is saying this is a sound program. It's endorsed by them.
And they look at it from a slightly different angle.
Why wouldn't you want to have that? You know, and we know we can run the program without that endorsement, but actually it's an enhancement to that. So, of course, we will look at it.
Take on board. Yeah.
We're all marketeers these days.
Yes, we are. Didis, would that, you think, would reflect on how the policing would do their programs? Because I think we know that they are starting their programs from next year. Any of that you think would be a good practice that they can take on board?
I think particularly around the kind of quality of it and having that sort of professional validation, I think is actually kind of quite important. Yeah. And I think that has to be more than from just the College of Policing. I know the College of Policing obviously have kind of informed in terms of what the curriculum might kind of look like, but I think they also kind of need that sort of professional, sort of separate professional body that actually assures the kind of quality of the programme. I think that would be really beneficial, and I think from the structure of the way that nursing and paramedics have been done, that's one thing that actually the police could really learn from, because I think having that separation is quite important, and particularly having that kind of quality and that validation of kind of standards, but from a professional body which is kind of, I suppose bought into, I suppose we go back to communication and buy-in, which is bought into by the profession, and I think that is really, really essential. And I think really building those relationships, I think because you build those relationships on kind of firm foundations, and I think that's really quite critical, I think, for building strong HEI police relationships is about communication, it's about working together. There will be kind of challenges along the way. I mean, these relationships already exist in some areas, they don't exist in all areas, but there's some good examples of kind of partnerships. And I kind of mentioned kind of the East Midlands and Northamptons, it's existed for a long time. So I think it's looking also where we can learn, but certainly I think working together. So not having a separation between the police and the HEI, or you know, but really working together. But I think the structure of the way that's done is something actually the police really need to kind of consider and think about moving forward.
That relationship between the employers and the HEI is really important as well. I mean, in a way, you alluded to that. In the East Midlands, we have a fantastic relationship with the police. Actually, we've had a very long-standing relationship with Northamptonshire Police, you know, over 12 years, and you have to invest in that. And it takes time, and it can easily be destroyed, very easily, but you have to keep investing in it. And I think if you do that, then when the times get tough and you have to make difficult decisions, and it's difficult for either partner, it's much easier actually to resolve that and come to a solution. And we've been challenged a lot around the way in which we developed the police constable degree apprenticeship locally. Really big challenges, but actually ourselves in East Midlands and Northamptonshire Police have solved them because there was a willingness on everybody's part to do that, and that is something that doesn't come immediately. You have to work at it.